In Steppenwolf's 1968 classic, Born to Be Wild, the anthem of the iconic film Easy Rider, there's a line that often slips under the radar but deserves the spotlight. Take the world in a love embrace. It's a lyric that conjures the image of throwing your arms wide around an entire world and embracing life with passion and openness, all while riding a motorcycle. Shana Tova. As you heard, I'm Sarah Sokolic. For those of you who don't know me, I'm one of the co-founders of LabShul and our executive director. I've officially been off the LabShul grid for about 3 months now. As some of you know, what was meant to be an 8-week professional sabbatical turned into 8 grueling weeks of intensive caregiving for my beloved mother, Ronnie, following a prolonged illness that began in March. This chapter came to an end 35 days ago when she took her final breath. During Shiva, the first 7 days of mourning, my old friend and longtime storyteller, David Walken, introduced me to the work of grief expert Carla Fernandez. I learned that I had unknowingly been inducted into what Fernandez calls the cosmic motorcycle gang of mourners. No one asks to join this gang. There's no initiation ceremony. But suddenly you're on a bike you didn't know you owned, wobbling down a road you've never ridden, surrounded by folks who somehow know exactly where you are and speak the same unspoken language as you. They slap a green patch on the back of your leather vest that says, "New Mourner," and you and your new identity are on your way. In her new book, Renegade Grief, Fernandez writes, "In cosmic motorcycle terms, we mourners crew up and we learn to ride. We find companions in loss, and we experiment with care practices and rituals that help us stay in a relationship with our grief, despite the cultural pressure to sweep it under the rug. Grief," she attests, "is not something to be moved on from and forgotten. With grief, we never cross a finish line and reach the other side." Here, I believe, Fernandez is suggesting that in our grief, we should throw our arms open wide and, like the song says, take the world in a love embrace. That as a society, we need to demystify and fully embrace grief as part of life with love, knowing that the global cosmic motorcycle gang of mourners has got our backs. I wasn't certain I was going to make it here in person today. Since my mom passed, I've been steering clear of large groups, and truthfully, what do I really know about grief that gives me the authority to speak about it publicly 35 days in? I'm just getting my training wheels put on my Harley. But Hineni, I am here, gingerly stepping out of isolation to begin this next phase of my mourning journey in beloved community with all of you. Given that I've been away for some time now, with a bit of time to recover and reflect, this feels like a perfect, holy path for re-entry and renewal, with fresh energy to take on what's next for me and what's next for LabShul. Shift happens. It's happening. And Hineni, I am here. In addition to being held by our community during mourning, we are also carried by so many Jewish rituals that accompany us on our mourning journeys. Yizkor is one of them. You may or may not know that the tradition of reciting Yizkor publicly began on Yom Kippur after the massacres of the Crusades, when entire communities needed a way to carry the unbearable loss of so many who had perished. But the rabbis taught that prayer alone was not enough. drawing from the verses in Deuteronomy that are chanted on Yom Kippur, quote, "One must not appear at the temple empty-handed," and quote, "Every person shall give as they are able." They insisted that remembrance must be joined with tzedakah, charity. That to give financially while remembering a loved one is to transform grief into goodness. Tikkun. That tradition carries forward to this very day, and it is exactly why I am standing here right now. Can I see a show of hands? How many of us have been held by Labshul in times of grief and sorrow? A lot of us. How about joy and celebration? Yeah, we've been there too. Here at Labshul, joys are fully celebrated, our grief is held and honored, and every one of us can belong as our full selves thanks to our artist-driven, God-optional, everybody-friendly ethos. But this does not happen by coincidence. It happens through deep intention, co-created ingenuity, and hard work, very hard work, by our staff, our board, and our volunteers, and it cannot happen without money. So if you've been held by Labshul in your grief, if you've been celebrated by Labshul in a time of joy, if you've learned something new from us, or simply have just been accepted as someone who belongs, being your full, authentic self, then I invite you to give generously and give now. Ticket sales do not cover the cost of producing these beautiful High Holy Days. Membership contributions, our partnerhood contributions, do not cover our annual operating budget. It is your generosity that enables Labshul to be present for all of us year-round, for the joys and the oys, for celebrations of becoming, for grief and mourning through our Kaddish Club, for the courageous conversations we have about Israel and Palestine, and for whatever comes next as we continue the work of Tikkun for our broken world. There are many ways to give, many, many ways. You can find them on the screen, you can find them on our website. And I think there may be a postcard outside as well. But Labshul really needs your generosity. Now is the time, as the gates are closing and our hearts are wide open. Join me in saying Hineni. Do not appear at the temple empty-handed. Give as you are able. Take the world and Labshul in a love embrace so we can continue to hold each other in life and in loss. Thank you, and Gemar Tov.